Okay, I think we are live. Good evening, you guys. I'm just going to give people a few minutes to come on in. I know it's been a long day. It is Monday, it's the start of the week, so hope everybody had a good Monday. Um, we're excited tonight to have our first mommy chat of 2026. I know we have been MIA for a little bit with the chats, but I'm super excited to have this conversation tonight because I think it's much needed. And the lady that I'm chatting with tonight, who's on the screen, I'm going to introduce her in a minute, is a super knowledgeable lady in this field. So I'm excited to have her here to talk with us about rediscovering who we are as moms, as women, as business owners, um, all the things. So whatever your title is, she can help you kind of get back to that. You know, in addition to all the things that you do as a mother. So if you are tuning in with us, please let me know where you're tuning in from. So drop in the chat if there's a chat. So disclaimer, this is my first time using this particular platform. I'm used to streaming it into Facebook, and I know that on Facebook we can drop in, in the comments where we're tuning in from and all the things. So if you are able to, if it allows you to, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if you are a part of the group or if you got the link from somewhere else. Um, and yeah, just what you're most excited to talk about or hear about tonight. And if you have questions, most importantly, if you have questions for our guests, please, please, please put them in the chat so that I can be sure to ask her those questions at some point tonight. So this is, like I said, our first mommy chat of 2026, and we're hoping to have one every quarter. Um, so yeah, welcome. And again, this is a chat about rediscovering who we are in motherhood, who we are, how we can get back to ourselves. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker or our, I don't want to say panelist because it's a conversation. So, our guest. Our guest, her name is Shanetta McDonald. She is a writer, veteran publicist, and a somatic life coach who helps women, especially mothers, reconnect to their bodies, stories, and sense of self. Her work has appeared all over the place, y'all. In The Cut, in Style, in Essence, Refinery 29, and Allure. So she's that deal. Her work sits at the intersection of embodiment, visibility, and telling the truth about what it means to nourish yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we are super, super, super excited to have you here, Shanetta. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about all the things.
We are excited to have you for sure. So just to kind of ground this conversation, because a lot of people don't know, and I'll be honest and say I am not 100% knowledgeable about it. But if you could just explain to us what somatic work is,
Yeah,
so that people can kind of know what that even means.
yeah. Great question. Well, for starters, thank you for having me. I'm just really honored to be able to be in community, to connect with moms, especially Black and Brown moms, which has always been something that's really important to me. And it actually led me to do this work. The word somatic is somewhat trendy now. There's a lot of conversations about somatics, nervous system regulation, and it can be a little overwhelming. The word somatic derives from the word soma, which is Latin and it means body. So that's all it means is body. When people talk about doing somatic work, they are usually talking about some form of body work, some form of, especially in our day and age, nervous system regulation, grounding. It can mean a number of different things. Um, how I work with clients is I am a certified life coach that has an emphasis on somatic work. And so I say often there's a lot of life coaches out there. There are a lot of people who can walk you through certain problems and give you momentum to go forward. But what I've learned is that pairing any type of coaching with the body, the mind body connection, was not only pivotal in the personal work that I've done with myself, but also with clients. And so that's why I wanted to really prioritize that with women, with mothers, with Black and Brown folks. For more than half of my life, I lived from that up. And so every decision, every fleeting thought, any time I was stuck in a situation in life and didn't know how to get through, it was always a cognitive approach to how do I get through this? How do I figure this out? Which I said we are good for figuring it out, which isn't really a tool. Figuring it out is not a tool. Um, but once I learned to like drop into my body to see what was actually happening, I was able to process emotions. I was able to make decisions from a more embodied, clear, authentic place. So for me, being a somatic life coach, I help move clients forward, help them get unstuck, help them to get clear, but it's from a mind body connection. So the changes are more lasting, they are more aligned with what I like to call our essential self, who we really are. And it just feels better. It just feels better. So that's in a nutshell what somatics is, and then how I use it in the work that I do.
Wonderful. That is really interesting, and it it resonates with me because like I feel like recently I just realized how connected, it's gonna sound silly, but like how connected issues that we face and stuff like is with our body, and how it starts to manifest in
Mhm.
different ways in our body. People
Yeah.
talk a lot about like, stress can do a whole lot to your body, and man, if that is not, that is the truth, it's real.
Yeah.
So your
Yeah.
work is super important.
Yeah. And I think it's everything from, the range is so vast. It can be right now I'm working with a few clients who are trying to pivot from corporate life to entrepreneur life and the other way around. I'm working with moms who are just like at capacity and are trying to do it all and it's not working. And from my personal experience, how this work came into play was I was navigating complex PTSD for most of my life from childhood stuff, as many of us are. And I tried everything. I tried cognitive therapy, which was helpful to a certain extent. I had tried 12 step groups, very helpful to a certain extent. So I tried all of these different things. And what I realized was for me, the need to do somatic work, it was part stress, but it was also showing up in my relationship with my ex-partner at the time. And I was so reactive. It was like I was upset and I was triggered and I would just react. And there was no pause, is what I like to call it, in between me having a feeling caused by an outside issue and me reacting to it. I wanted to respond, but I had no, I didn't even know how. I didn't know where to
Yeah.
start. So that's what actually, and then that was all a symptom from the complex PTSD, my inability to be able to respond to certain situations and circumstances. But yeah, that's what got me started, And so yeah, it shows up in the sneakiest ways. I would have never thought like, gosh, why can't I respond to this? Why am I so like triggered? And why do I want to, just jump into this? And for me, learning that that was even an option, that I wasn't even connected with my body, and that that could help was like the beginning of that personal work for me.
Wow. So, for Black women, how can we even start to feel safe in our bodies when so much of our experience has required us to like stay guarded, to stay, vigilant, and feel like we have to be
Yeah.
on guard at all times?
Yeah, yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is to find support, help. um, Before I started to do this work, I had a practitioner that I worked with who I still work with today. They say therapists have therapists, coaches have coaches. We all need help. So I met him 3 years ago. He was referred to me by another practitioner who was too busy to take me on. Um, and it's been life changing, and I still work with him. And so that was my introduction. So I did my research, had the idea like maybe this could help me, and then I just let someone guide me. So I think finding support, trusted support that feels good, that you feel safe with, I think that can help. Um, and then on your own, what I tell clients is the most simplest way to start to even access it is to just to see what you feel each day, one day at a time. What's even if it's a sensation. Like I wasn't online in my body at all, and so what I found in doing the work a couple of months, a year in, is that I would just notice like, oh, I'm like getting a tingling sensation. Oh, I feel the temperature in this room is cold. Like, oh, and then that led to me feeling when I was activated or triggered, and so number one recommendation is find support. The second is start to, as you go throughout your day, as you're with the kids or you're with the husband or you're in the meeting, ideally if you're alone, start to just sit and see what you feel, sensations wise, temperature, tingling, anything that comes up. No need to do anything about it. There's no need to judge it, change it, fix it, but just start to notice, because we have to even build a relationship with ourselves to even be able to access what's happening. And I think once we see what's happening or feel what's happening, then we can start to build the safety, because the safety may take a while. I don't always 24/7 feel safe in my body, but I've come a long way, and it's a practice. So those are the two things I would recommend.
Yeah. So, with that, with people just kind of paying attention to how they feel and what they feel and all those things, would you recommend, like, do we journal it? Do we just take note of it mentally, or like, because I guess I'm thinking like, if we're trying to notice those things, are we trying to, this is, you might be like, you don't have to do all that. Are we trying to like notice a pattern, or like,
Yeah.
you know, um
Yeah. Well, I don't want to overwhelm, but I think the finding support, if you're able and have the resources to find the support, I think that's helpful. And then noticing it, because I think noticing it will start to, there's a law, a universal law, and I don't know the name of it, but it means, and I'll find it and follow up, that once we even start to pay attention to something, it starts to shift. So it may seem small, it may seem like there's more to be done. What do I do when I notice it? But once you start to pay attention to something, it has the power to shift. If you want to take it a step further, you can think about a certain situation in your life and back out from it that way. For me, it was my relationship. It was like, okay, when in conflict or when I am triggered, I am struggling to respond versus react. I want to fix that. I want to do something about that. And so then the work for me was when I am triggered or when I am upset, then I notice what's happening in my body. Sometimes I would still react. Sometimes, but it was just the noticing. Because for me, the noticing was the pause. There was a pause in between an outside circumstance or situation, a feeling. I was like, oh, I'm actually not just knowing that I'm angry. I feel
yeah.
rattled. I feel it in my body. Um, and then the next step was now I can choose to respond and choose to think about how I want to handle this. If I even need a response, maybe I just need to ask for space. Maybe I need to just ask for something. And so that situation can be brought into, we're all mothers. Gosh, I'm at low capacity today. I noticed that when I'm really tired and my daughter or son asks for a popsicle, I've got asked for donuts, popsicles today, and I'm
Mhm.
multitasking. Um, and I don't like the way I'm showing up in that moment. I want to respond. I don't want to be as triggered. There is so much power in just noticing what's happening in your body before you decide to do something about it. Because I think that's the other thing is I find that and again, this is with my personal growth work with clients. There is this desire, I want to do something about it. Like, so,
Yeah.
okay, but I want to, I would like, how do I? And like, it's just the noticing. Like, can we just notice? Um, I'm working with a nutritionist. I just signed up, started working with a nutritionist a week ago. We have bi-weekly sessions for the next 3 months. She gave me homework for 7 days. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not, but I don't talk to you for 2 weeks. So what am I going to do? And like,
Yeah.
instinctively I want to like, okay, I did the homework for 7 days, so what do I do after? But I just need to.
Yeah.
And it's like, or maybe it's just, and the homework is really observation. Like she did tell me to change my food. She did. It was just like, we're gonna try this experiment where you observe and document, and that's it. And so it's sitting in the discomfort of like, can I just observe? Because before we get to change, before we get to any of that, we have to observe. And I think it's been 4 days since I've met with her and I've been doing this experiment, just observing. And it's like, wow, just sitting in the discomfort of just observing and learning so much, but not needing to fix it right now. And so I think that's the other layer. I think it's like we all want change. We all want to like, okay, and now what? But like, what are we learning from the observation? I think that's just as important, if not more important, than whatever goal we're trying to get onto on the other side of it.
No, that's a good
It's a
point. I
tangent,
think
sorry.
no, no, no. No, I think that's a good point. I mean, because to your point, my question was like, okay, yeah, and what do
And
we
then
do
what?
next?
And then what? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you're right. Like just taking time to acknowledge and notice those things can make
yeah.
a huge difference. And so is noticing that is that a somatic practice? Um, and if so, what are some other, I guess, easy
Yep.
to implement somatic practices that we can put into place as women, as mothers, as business owners, like all of these things that maybe kind of put us at capacity. What are some other things that we could, yeah, easily implement to kind of help us get closer to our body, if I'm saying it
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Um, a few things come to mind. In my opinion, anything that involves connecting with your body is somatics. That's just my opinion. Um, as it relates to what we can do on a day-to-day basis or what feels easy enough, I think start with where you are. Every person is different. Everyone has a different level of capacity and scheduling. Um, I haven't meditated today because I had my daughter with me from like the beginning of the day, and we'll be together until her dad comes to get her tonight. And so my hope is like after this, I can do my meditation. On another day, I would do it in the morning and get it out of the way. But I think meditation, I know we're tired of hearing and talking about meditation, perhaps, but I meditate just about every day for 10, 15 minutes. And it's monumental because how many other times throughout the day, outside of everything I just explained, do we give ourselves the opportunity to actually connect with our bodies? Most of us don't, you know, not for a lack of need or want, but just for a lack of time. And so meditation is a forced connection point with your body. It's like, okay, I'm sitting still. I have a meditation that I do that is part mindfulness and mantra. And so I started off with actually some light breath work. Then I go into some mindfulness techniques, and then I end with it's actually manifestation, so some visualizations. Um, what feels simple enough for everyone to do would be that meditation 5 to 10 minutes a day. If you want to start, if it's harder to start to pay attention to your body throughout the day, then dedicate the 5 to 10 minutes at any time of the day. Anytime. It doesn't
Oh,
matter
that's
what time of day.
a
Uh,
question. 'Cause I
yes,
know,
yes.
like for me, I'm sure, I hope I'm not the only one that like
Yeah,
goes through this. I feel like my mind is going a
yeah.
hundred times a minute, and to
Mhm.
even be able to focus and quiet my mind long enough to meditate for 5 minutes, like
Yeah.
is difficult. So, like for people that are starting out meditating, what I guess what advice would you give them? And with meditation, um, could we incorporate? I guess you could do whatever you want to do, but could we incorporate like if some people are more spiritual and want to pray or turn on like inspirational music or gospel music or whatever it is, how can we kind of incorporate that, or is that meditation too? Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I asked two
It took
questions. I'm
me,
sorry.
no, yes, yes, yes. It took me a very long time to find a meditation that worked for me. To your point, I would always meditate in the morning. I've just now come back around to being able to meditate in the morning, but for the, I don't know, 5, 7 years that probably longer, the decade that I've been meditating at least every day. I think I took a year off when I had my daughter, but imperfectly meditating. I would always do it in the morning when my mind was really loud. Um, Two things. Number one, our cortisol is higher in the morning, specifically for women. So you might be a little bit more anxious. You might have all the thoughts of like what I need to get done throughout the day. That's normal. Three things actually. The second thing is the point of meditation is to have a quiet mind. It's to observe. It's to observe the train coming and going. The third is you don't have to meditate in the morning. So what I realized is I couldn't even meditate in the morning. Like I just didn't have the time to meditate in the morning. And so what worked for me, especially once my daughter started to go to school, was I would meditate when she was in school in the middle of the day because I like to work out in the morning. That's my I need to check the box. She's at home with me. I took her for a nice 2 mile walk in the stroller. Um, and so either I would meditate when she went down for a nap or in the middle of the day when she was at school. Now, for me, that worked and still works sometimes because I get to get the work done in the morning. I work from home, I work for myself, obviously, do the dishes. I get to get some stuff done in that morning that I would be ruminating over in the meditation. And so by the time I meditate halfway through the day, it's a lot less quiet. So it's on the West Coast, it's 4 p.m. If she stays asleep another 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and I get to meditate, like the day is already done for me. Like this was the last thing. I'm going to take her to the park. I do have dinner with a friend later, but like the work, I got the hard work done. And so I can actually probably settle into my meditation. Doesn't mean it's going to be completely quiet, but it means that I'm not doing the checklist. Even if the checklist is written down, I'm sure we all know it's still like, circling. And so that's been a nice workaround is like I get stuff done and then I feel like, okay. And also for me, it breaks up my day because I feel like I have to have spiritual mind body checkpoints throughout the day. So my first one is to work out in the morning. So I move my body, I'm physically active. And then for me, middle of the day, it's that meditation. And then at night before bed, I have my journaling practice. It's actually a gratitude and acknowledgement list. I pray and that. So I have like these checkpoints throughout the day where I stay connected to spirit. To your second question around how can people um, incorporate spirituality or whatever works best for them into their practice. I say there is no right or wrong way to meditate. I say do what works best for you, but also to research it. um, I found a meditation that works well for me, and it took me, I think I've been meditating for over a decade, 8 years to find something. I did the guided meditations, I've done some led meditations, and I finally found one that works well for me. Um, and it feels, but, and I had, so adding music or anything into it, that would be more guided. I think those are fine. I think whatever you need to get you started, to get you to sit down and get quiet, to do that. And just stick with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Meditation is one of those things where it's like it's a slow burn, but if you look back in your life over the past year, you're like, oh wow, there was a shift. But if you start meditating 2 weeks ago, you might not notice it, but it takes a while.
Yeah. Well, it is comforting to know that the goal of meditation is not to completely quiet your mind because,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people feel like we're not doing it right because our mind
yeah,
is not quiet. So, thank you for affirming that for
yeah.
me. Um, so let's see. For those of us women who are used to being the strong one, what does it look like to be able to soften without feeling like everything will fall apart? Like we're the go-to in our family for every single thing, and if we, you know, step back a little bit or try to soften, we feel like everything is gonna fall apart. How can we combat that?
Yeah. I think softening for me requires safety. So I think you have to be safe in order to even be able to soften. And because there are a few questions in there. It's like the softening, um, the holding it all together,
Yeah.
which tend to go hand in hand. And I think it's easier to answer the holding it all together. I think prioritize yourself, and I know we say that a lot, but I left my relationship with my daughter's father. We were together for almost 10 years because I was in a dynamic that I knew would never allow me to soften. Um, these two people, me and him, the way we were with each other, the way I wanted, and I envisioned my life being with a partner, I knew I would never be able to fall into safety, therefore softness. And so that didn't work well for me. Um, I am able to soften with my therapists. I am able to soften with other mothers, with women who see me, with women who hear me. Um, Certain family members, and it's because I feel safe with them. I feel safe and I feel like I'm able to soften. One thing that I was able to do in that dynamic was, I would say, it took me about a year into motherhood, but I was able to prioritize myself. Um, so, you know, no matter what, I got my 30 minutes of workout every single morning. Um, no matter what, I would get the time that I needed for myself on the weekends to do whatever I wanted to do. And I think I had another mom friend at the time. I think it was before I started to coach on my own, but I had another mom friend who just asked the simple question. She was like, "What are you doing without the baby?" And I was like, "Nothing." And
Yeah.
that changed everything. Um, I put it on my list of things to do for the week, spend time with friends, do this, do that, and it just became a part of my
That's
life.
good. That's
Um, I am very organized. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very organized.
Uh-oh, Virgo,
So,
me too.
yes, very organized. And so I plan my weeks out on Sundays. I have a short list of like, what do I need to do for God? What do I need to do for myself? What do I need to do for the baby, the house, money, um, and I think in work. So I had these buckets and I put short bullets up next to them into the note section of my phone. And so for me, it's like take a bath, schedule dinner with so and so, get your nails done. Um, but every week, so every Sunday, it takes me 5, 7 minutes at the most to do this list. And I'm always on the list. It's God and then me, and then the baby, and then the house, and then work, because everything will
Yeah.
be taken care of if I'm taken care of.
Yeah.
And so I think uh, this idea of me prioritizing myself, the word selfishness doesn't even come to mind. The word like being there for everybody else, it's like because it's just I always just put myself first, and I did that first year, but now it's just a part of my flow. My daughter's father will be working. Up north in California for a while for this week. So I'll be on mom duty for 6 days. And so his parents are going to come help to watch my daughter for a day so I can get a break. He probably is going to have to be on full time dad duty for a couple of days while I recover. Um, I just make sure that I'm taken care of. Because who will make sure if I won't do it? And I want the same for him. Like all parents need rest and to be able to take care of themselves. And so I think it's such a huge difference when you are doing it versus when you aren't doing it. Um, and so just experiment with one thing. See what it feels like to move your body every single day. See what it feels like to ask for 30 minutes to do something.
Yeah.
Uh, Require it. Not even ask for it. Be like, I'm gonna go work out for 30 minutes. I'll be back. Y'all good?
Yeah.
Y'all are okay, right? Because the
I
things
love
will be
that.
hard. The
Yeah.
things will be hard. I try to be as present with my daughter as possible, but we've been, I shared this before the call, in transition. Moved households, and so I had to work a little bit more today when I was with her on Friday because she's in school part time, Tuesday through Thursday. She was at home with me. We had the whole day together. We did all the things. But today, Mama had to work, so we're gonna watch. We're gonna have some snacks, We're gonna watch Nancy, whatever show this is, and we're gonna go to the park later. But
Yeah.
and also I need to work out. So I know you want to go to the park, but I'm gonna put you in the stroller, and we're gonna go for a 2 mile walk so mommy
Mhm.
can get some fresh
And
air.
you're
And
still
it ends up
taking
being
care of
good.
you.
Still
Yeah.
taking, and it ends up
Yeah.
being good for both of us. We stopped at a coffee shop. She got a little snack. We kept going in the stroller, And so I think I've learned to incorporate. That's another thing, my needs into my day and my life. Like I have a jogger stroller. It's a good stroller. We're gonna use a stroller, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah.
No, I think that that's
It's all
good. I think that
internal.
it's important. I love what you said when you said your list, like it's God then me. Cause like even like when they talk about marriage, like it's the you and your spouse before the kids. And so often we always say the kids come first. And not to say that they're not important or that they
Mhm.
shouldn't be high up on that list, but to your point, if I'm well taken care of, then my kids will be well taken care of. And I think
Yeah,
that a lot of times we forget that and we start like as a parent, um, you start putting your kid first and then it just never you
yeah,
never shift that dynamic and you look up and your child is 13, 14, and you're still kind of ignoring yourself,
mhm,
and pouring everybody else's bucket but your own. So I really do like that, like point to schedule that time for yourself.
yeah,
And so how do you even like start to release the mom guilt? Because I feel like that's a big thing too. Like even when we're trying to put ourselves first, we feel bad about it. We're like, well, oh, I mean, I shouldn't go for a 30-minute whatever because whatever for whatever reason you feel like you can't step away for 30 minutes or an hour or even like a few days to go on a trip with
yeah,
your friends or whatever. How can we start to release that mom guilt that we so often feel?
yeah. Mom guilt. God willing, I'll have a long life with my baby. I don't know if I got that from somewhere, but that's what goes through my mind when I start to feel guilty. It's like, God willing, I'll have a long life with her, that she outlives me and that we'll have a long, good, full life together. So if I decide to go on a 2-day trip in the grand scheme of this long, beautiful life that I hope to have with my daughter, it's going to be okay. It's going to
Just
be
giving yourself
okay.
permission to.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, like because I think also what you see on social media in particular is like you only get this amount of summers with your baby, and it shows you all the time you don't get with your child. But what about all the time that you do? We get so much time with them. I
Yeah.
stayed with my daughter for the first 2 years before she went to school, because I was able to. I had the resources, I had the privilege, and I wanted to. Um, and so I feel like I put in the time. My daughter knows who I am. You
Yeah,
know,
you're right.
she knows who I am. Like I can, and she's also almost 4. I can go on a trip and come back, and she's not going to think mommy isn't going to. She's not going to forget about me.
You're right.
And so, but when she was younger, there was that fear of like, is she going to forget about me? And so it's
Yeah.
all of that. But I think I keep coming back to like, God willing, we'll have a lot of time together. And so if she's gonna, if in that lot of time, if she's gonna grow up and have her own life, then like, how about I continue to maintain my own life as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm still here for most of the bedtimes. I'm still here for all of the important moments. We dyed Easter eggs today. It didn't work, but we dyed them. So it's just So I think it's just think about how long your life could potentially be with your baby. Because we always want to think, expansive and positive, right? It's like, well, so think there. And if we think
Right.
that time is abundant, regardless of what we know or don't know about tomorrow, if we think that that is abundant and just the feeling of love for your child is abundant, then, you know, you can think less about the lack of like the time away that you or the time that you're away from them.
Yeah.
I'm really attached to my daughter, very attached to my daughter.
Same.
And I get it. It's hard. And sometimes that mom guilt is just like a longing to be with your baby. This will usually fine. There was someone that you trust.
Yeah.
but sometimes it's just a longing to be with your baby. And so, from a somatic perspective, what I would say is like, go into the longing, like, oh, I miss my baby. I mean, I've had this multiple times in the past couple weeks. Like, oh, I miss my baby. And I feel the feelings. If I need to cry, it comes up and then it moves through me.
Okay.
It
So
moves,
feel it, acknowledge it, and
and then just let it move through you. You don't do anything about it. It's just like, because it passes, it always passes. And then I'll go to sleep and I'll see it the next day, and then she'll work my nerves, and I'm like, I just, it just
trust me, I understand.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's easier said than done, of course.
Yeah. We actually had a comment come in from Karen Bell. Hey, Karen from Kentucky. She said, I love the thought of the 3 daily check ins. Move your body in the morning, meditation in the middle of the day, and journal check in at night. So she said, thank you for
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
those
And
tips.
that came over time. Like, I think I started with I just, after I had my dog, I'm a morning person. Let's start there. I'm a morning person. So and I realize if I don't work out in the morning, it ain't gonna get done.
Yeah.
Or it might, but
Same.
it'll be harder. So it's like, okay, well, this is the time when I work out. And then the meditation, it's just like, well, I don't have time to meditate in the morning, so this is when it's gonna happen. And then I think I adopted the journal check-in at night from somewhere. And then that was easy. It's like, okay, my journal is right by the bed. So I make everything also really easy to be
Yep.
done.
So
So
there's
the
no
journal
reason
is
not to
right
do it.
there. Exactly. And even so, again, we're in transition. My daughter, she has a new bedroom, a new bed, and it's really comfortable. And last night she would not go to sleep. She just would not. She's like, no, I want to lay with you. And I know if she lays in my bed, she's not going to sleep. She fell asleep in her bed. I fell asleep in her bed, and I went to my bed at 2:30 in the morning. So I had to do the journal practice, and that's okay because most days I do it. And so I think also giving yourself some grace, but discipline with grace, discipline
Yeah.
with grace. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's a good point because I think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, having an all or nothing mindset,
Yeah,
um, and not, like you said, allowing yourself that space to have grace. Like it's not all or nothing. I am being consistent. Life happens, and sometimes, you know, we deviate from the plan. But as long as I'm not staying off course,
yeah,
for
yeah,
forever, then it's okay. Like that's
yeah.
fine. We get back on track. Um, so I have a question about like a burnout. I feel like a lot of people in this season, with everything that's going on in the world and the economy, with our administration, you know, are feeling burned out. And I feel like Black women, especially, because of all the extra things that we have to carry in the workplace, and as moms, especially if we're raising Black boys, but Black children in general, but Black boys, how do we navigate burnout when we as Black women are kind of carrying more emotionally, culturally, and sometimes financially, especially for us who like are single parents and everything pretty much falls on us. I mean, we have a co-parent that helps. Some of us do, some of us don't have that kind of relationship with a co-parent, and so financially, everything falls on us. We navigate.
Yeah, yeah. I think burnout is just one of those things where it feels a little overused as well, but it's real. It's very real. And I think sometimes it's unavoidable. Like, I think sometimes if you have too much on your plate's gonna be heavy, right? And so how I like to think of burnout is, how do I look forward before I even get to that point? Um, and see what's on my plate, to see what needs to be managed. Today was completely hectic for me, and I just didn't plan it well. And that is okay because, again, I'm going to go to dinner tonight. It'll be fine. And this has been lovely. Um, but I think planning and looking ahead, I think, is going to be really important. At one point, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes it's unavoidable to take the things off the plate to be able to manage it. But if you can look ahead to see what's coming up for you for the next 7 days, to see how you can manage your time, your energy, what I've been asking a lot of clients about is what do you have the capacity for? Not what's on the list of to dos, not what's on the list of like the things you have to do, but what's your actual capacity to do the things.
Mm.
And for me, for example, today, I had a couple of things I wanted to get done, but halfway through the day, I was like, I only have the capacity to get these two things done. And if I got those two things done, it would be a win for me, you know? Um, when things are unavoidable, when you just have to carry a lot, that means you have to take extra care of yourself. That means you have to carve out the time to move your body. It makes such a huge difference when, and you notice I keep saying movement, I'm not saying exercise, I'm saying
Mhm.
movement, move your body.
Yeah.
It makes such a huge difference when you have a lot, maybe mentally, energetically, tangibly happening when you move your body for 30 minutes. It may seem counterintuitive to add something to your list to do, but I promise you that 30 minutes will help carry you. It will help, you know. Um, Movement is, we're expending the energy. So the energy that could be otherwise focused on ruminating, obsessing, being angry, it could be potentially helpful. What that movement looks like is completely different for every person. Um,
Yeah.
it could be, restorative yoga. It could be going for a walk, your Peloton, a 30-minute YouTube video. It can be completely different for everyone. Swimming. Um, I would add in the grounding, the meditation, the 5 or 10 minutes when there's a lot going on. That will help you. It'll help you to just reconnect, to reground. And ground can mean anything from literally taking your shoes off and going outside to touch grass, or it can mean anything from grounding and seeing what colors are in the room. If I'm in deep in rumination or obsession, or if my clients are, I say, okay, I see gray walls. I see a brown chair. I feel the wind on my skin. So I think you do it for 8 different things that you notice sensation wise, and that can be helpful.
Does
And
that
so,
help? Sorry. I
no,
like that's interesting to me. So when you're ruminating, if you stop and you just pay attention to the things that you see or the things that you feel, does that help? Like, how does that help? Is that redirecting your mind, like redirecting your mind, or like what?
yeah, it can help redirect. It's not perfect. I would say that it's not perfect. There's a long list, if there's a way I can follow it, there's a long list of things that people can use for rumination or worry and obsession. That's just one of them, but it helps to redirect it. It's a way to like physically put you back in wherever you are. Because when we're ruminating, we're up in the clouds, we're in our head, we're not fully present. And so it's just a way to be like, okay, this is what's happening. Some of my clients have to do it multiple times for it to work, and also, I feel like with the rumination, with the obsession, with the burnout, I think sometimes it's just also like this is what's happening right now. This is the season that I'm in. So I think it's also just a lot of acceptance, and making what I like to call friends with that part of us that's like in it. The part of us that's like in the obsession, the part of us that's in the burnout, just being like, okay, girl, I guess we're just in it right now. Another way of noticing it. Um, and so to wrap all of that up with the burnout, I think adding the practices to reconnect with yourself seems counterintuitive, but they will help. And then two, just having a level of acceptance around it. And then three, try to foresee it. What can you, if you, a lot of times, if we are connected with our bodies, we can feel the burnout happen. We can see the train wreck coming. So if you can see it, what can you do to prevent it? Or what can you do to ride the wave a little bit better?
Nice. Yeah, I like that. And I that all of these things that you've been mentioning, especially like making sure you move your body. By the way, I like that reframing instead
Yeah.
of saying exercise because that puts so much pressure on people. And moving your body, like you said, could be anything. You could, if you like to dance, you could turn on some music and dance
Yeah.
around for 30 minutes or whatever. So I love that. So I guess we hear you got to find balance. You got to find balance. So what does that actually look like in real life as a mom, as a wife, as a girlfriend, as a boss, as all the things, as an entrepreneur? How are we finding balance? Like I know you said move your body. What are some other ways that we can start to incorporate finding balance?
Yeah. And balance can mean so many different things. I think what I hear, what I think of balance, or when the conversation comes up, is how can I give everything my equal level of attention? And that doesn't feel realistic. I think it's possible for some people, but it just doesn't feel realistic. Um, I think for me, balance means that it always for me starts with self care. So how am I taking care of everything? I'm sorry, and of myself, and seeing how everything else around me falls into place. Right now, I'm in a season of deep motherhood because we're in transition. Work, health has been a really big priority for me. Um, Relationships, not so much. They're evolving, but I'm not putting a lot of energy and effort into trying to figure out what they'll be. Um, but I feel good with that. I'm okay with that. And so I think taking a look at, if you're trying to put something in balance, what is it that you want to put in balance? Like tangibly, like write it down. What is it that feels out of balance? What is it that you want to see? What do you have the capacity to work towards? Um, I don't have the capacity to put everything in balance right now. I have the capacity to continue to provide a great home and environment for my daughter, to put my energy into work, and to reprioritize my health in a way that I haven't in the past. So it's going to take a little bit more energy in the upfront. Once I get the hang of it, working with a nutritionist, um, and once it becomes more of my lifestyle, I imagine I won't have to put so much into it. But right now, it's requiring a lot of me. And so I think some seasons just require a lot of us. And so what's requiring a lot of you? And what don't you want to require a lot of you? What can you prioritize and what can you deprioritize?
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love the fact that you were real to say, you know, you can't be everything to everybody. I'm paraphrasing, but like you can't all these things. That's just unrealistic. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And how can you be okay with it also, I think is the
yeah,
bigger things. I think what causes the angst is I'm not okay with this being out of balance right now. And so if you're not okay with it, what do you have the capacity or willingness to change? And if you don't have the capacity or willingness to change, how do you be okay with that?
yeah,
How
yeah.
could you just be in acceptance of like that's where it is right then. Again just moved into a new home, and last year I was like, I want to get my daughter on a better eating schedule. I want to eat better, but I energetically and physically I didn't have any capacity to do any of those things. I was just like, I just don't have it in me, and
Yeah.
you know that was okay. And so I got some acceptance over that. Now that we're in the new space, I have more energy. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. Um, and this is just where I'm at right now, and something else will probably suffer, but this is what's important to me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are seasons for all things. So
Seasons,
whatever.
it's the
Yeah.
season. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't last year. It was not last year. So, yeah.
We had another question come in. This is from Karen. She said, "Do you have any book recommendations for meditation or any of the things you've discussed?"
It's so funny, Karen. I literally in front of me, did not plan this, have been reading When Things Fall Apart. Is it Piba Chodron? You can put it in the chat. It's an old book, maybe early 2000s. It's one of those things where, you know how you hear about a book or a movie or a thing multiple times. I've heard about this book probably for the last 5 years and finally heard it on a podcast or something three weeks ago. I was like, I'm going to finally get that book. And so she is a nun, if I'm not mistaken. She went on this spiritual path. Yep, she's a nun. When her husband of I don't know how many years woke up one day and divorced her, said he had another partner and he was leaving her, and it's her on this deep spiritual path. But it's really a book about. I mean, it's literally when things fall apart. Your life doesn't have to fall apart to read it, but it talks a lot about meditation, mindfulness. It's an easy read. It's only like 140 pages, super simple. But it's a really beautiful book. So I think this is the most recent one that I'm reading. Um, there's another book called, I think it's The Power of Surrender. Um, And I can follow up with
Yeah.
I'll follow up with some other recommendations. The Magic of Surrender by Kute Blacksman, Kute Blackson. Um, there's a prayer in there that I do after my meditation um, that is just a beautiful, beautiful prayer. I just put the book in the chat. Um, those are the two that come to mind. I read a lot. I read a lot of books. I'm trying to read more fiction, so I'm not always in the clouds with self help stuff. But this just literally happens to be the book that's in front of me. So
Okay, I'm gonna pop that in the chat or on the screen too. It's in the chat, but we're gonna pop it on the screen. This is a book recommendation from Shanetta. It's called The Magic. Wait, what is it called? Magic
the
Surrender, Finding
magic
Courage,
of surrender.
Magic of Surrender. And I'll get with Shanetta and get some of the other recommendations that she mentioned and get um, the title and the author so that you can look them up and grab the book. And so I guess this is a good segue into um, you telling us how people can get in touch with you if they need to, you know, we want to hear about your services because
Yeah.
look, we could all use some help. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for today. This was beautiful. I'm so happy this space exists. And I work with clients in a few ways. Number one, I'm always hosting workshops. The last workshop I had, it was a series in the month of February and March. So I'll be having more free offerings. But I work with clients in two ways. One is a one off, it's called the Clarity Call, it's on my website. And it's just like, hey, I'm feeling stuck in this one area. I need help working through it. And then the primary way that I work with clients is on a 3-month basis. It's also on the website. I think it's 3 months, 6 sessions, I believe. And that's how we get deep into the work to move forward. Perfect. All the links are in the link tree on my Instagram. And yeah, that's the best way to find me on Instagram. Find me on my website, shanetta.com. It's pretty easy, and the website has all of my offerings. And then if you stay tuned, you'll see any workshops that I have going on. And if you're in LA, I hope to do more in-person events as well.
oh, fun. I'm not in LA, but if
Okay.
I were, I'd come.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm excited. I'm working on a couple events in April. So
Oh, well, you have those things ready to share, would be,
okay,
happy to share that
perfect.
within the group. Because I mean, I'm sure that there are some ladies in the group who are in LA or who frequent LA or what have you. So, happy to share that. I guess I'd like to end just like with one question, to I guess encourage our audience tonight. If there is a woman that's listening and she feels like she's exhausted but doesn't feel like she's allowed to stop, what would you want her to know right now, or what would you say to her right
Uh, the first thing that comes to mind is to burn it all down. But if we want a softer way of doing it, yeah, I would ask yourself a question. Um, is how you're living your life the vision that you have for your life? And just see where that leads you. Like if this is not the vision that I have for my life, sit with that, see what needs to change. Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I think we like ask yourself, empowering questions that get you like, okay, am I? And I think longer answer is with me seeking out nutritional support. I realized this person that I want to be, um, fully, um, the way that I am nourishing my body is not in alignment with who I want to be. Um, and I needed help. I was like, but I don't know how to do that in a healthy way. If you read through all of my stories and my background, I have a history of disordered eating, so it's important for me to work with someone who understands that, who knows that I'm not trying to eat to lose weight or to do any of that, but I simply want to just feel better and more energized in my body. Um, and so I asked myself, I was like, this is This is who I say I am to myself at the very least, and this is how I'm showing up. So what's the disconnect there? And I saw the disconnect, and then I decided to do something about it. But it took a while. And so I say, start asking yourself questions like, is this vision that I have of myself who I say I am or who I want to be?
So it sounds like it's important to just be self-aware, like to start to ask those
Yeah,
questions so that you are, yeah,
yeah. I think it's a start. Self awareness is a start. And then see if you have the willingness to do something about it. That's the bigger thing. Is like, okay, we can have all the awareness we want, but I have the awareness, and what am I willing to do about it?
love that.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to share that I didn't ask, or um, anything that you feel that's important to this conversation that you want to share?
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot. I would say continue to just see what's happening inside of you, not up here. We need our brains. We need the cognitive part that's really important. But just pay attention to your body and what it's telling you, because our bodies are always talking to us. It's just up to us to listen.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shanetta, for spending your time with us, y'all. I'm sure she is super tired. She has been, like she said before, trying to settle into her new place and things like that. So we really appreciate you taking the time
Thank you.
to spend with us. And she's on the West Coast, so
Yeah,
you
and my baby is still asleep, so look at that.
know.
I'm looking at her monitor. I'm like, yes.
Tell her we said thank you.
I will. Thank you
But
all so
thank
much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for tuning in. And we're gonna make sure that we put this in the group so you can catch the replay. So thank you guys for tuning in to our first mommy chat of 2026. Hope to see you guys during our next chat. I'm not sure when it's gonna be, but I will let you know, and I'll let you know the topic. But thank you guys. Have a wonderful one.
Thank you all so much.